In the dark heart of the Pacific, in the autumn of 1942, the fate of World War II hung in the balance. The ocean was a graveyard, the night starless, and the air thick with the coming storm of battle. Amidst the chaos, one steel titan cut through the black waves, a symbol of American resolve, the battleship USS Washington. This is the story of a single night that changed naval warfare forever. The Guadalcanal campaign was a brutal, 6-month slugfest. On land, Marines clung desperately to a muddy airstrip called Henderson Field. At sea, the U.S. Navy and the Imperial Japanese Navy traded devastating blows in the treacherous waters of Iron Batom Sound. By November, the Americans were on the ropes. The Japanese were planning one final, overwhelming push to annihilate the Marines and retake the island. They assembled a powerful fleet, confident that their superior night-fighting skills would grant them victory. Aboard the flagship USS Washington, a different kind of commander prepared for the fight. Rear Admiral Willis Ching was not your typical admiral. He was quiet, analytical, and a 5-time Olympic gold medalist in shooting. But his greatest skill wasn't marksmanship with a rifle. It was his profound understanding of a new, unproven technology, radar. While many in the Navy's old guard dismissed radar as a fragile gimmick, Lee saw its potential to pierce the veil of night. On the night of November 14, 1942, Admiral Lee led his small task force, centered on the Washington and the battleship South Dakota, into Iron Batom Sound. Their mission was desperate: intercept and stop the Japanese bombardment force at all costs. The night was pitch black, a perfect hunting ground for the Japanese, who had honed their night optics and tactics to a razor's edge. Inside Washington's Combat Information Center, the air was tense. Men huddled around the dim greenish glow of the SG radar screens. These were the new eyes of the fleet. While the rest of the world was blind, Washington could see. On the glowing display, faint blips began to appear. First one, then another, then a dozen. The Japanese fleet. They had sailed straight into an invisible trap. The battle began in chaos. The USS South Dakota, plagued by a series of electrical failures, suddenly went dark. Her radars, radios, and fire control systems all died at once. Silhouetted by burning destroyers, she became a perfect target. The Japanese fleet, led by the battleship Kirishima, pounced. Shells rained down on the helpless South Dakota. Her superstructure was shredded. It seemed another American disaster was unfolding. But the Japanese were so focused on finishing off the South Dakota, they remained completely unaware of the second American battleship lurking just a few miles away in the darkness. On the bridge of the USS Washington, Admiral Lee remained calm. He had a perfect firing solution. He waited, letting the enemy get closer, confirming his targets with absolute certainty. The men in the fire control room tracked the Kirishima on their radar, their calculations precise, their movements practiced. Then, Lee gave the order. Commence firing. With a roar that split the night, Washington's 16-inch guns unleashed hell. 9 massive 2,000-pound shells screamed through the darkness. Guided not by sight but by electrons and radio waves, the first salvo was a direct hit. In less than 7 minutes, the USS Washington, firing from over 4 miles away, landed at least 9 16-inch shells and over 45-inch shells on the Kirishima. The Japanese battleship, which had been untouchable just moments before, erupted in a tower of flame. Her steering was destroyed, her guns silenced, and massive fires raged out of control. The Japanese fleet was stunned. They were being systematically destroyed by an enemy they couldn't even see. The technological shock was total. The well-oiled Japanese war machine, masters of the night, broke in panic. They turned and fled, leaving the crippled Kirishima to her fate. She would sink a few hours later. In the aftermath, the scale of the victory was staggering. The USS Washington had single-handedly engaged and destroyed a Japanese battleship in a night action, a feat previously thought impossible. She had saved the South Dakota, and more importantly, saved Henderson Field from the planned bombardment. The Japanese Army's final offensive on Guadalcanal was thwarted before it could even begin, and the most incredible part? The USS Washington suffered 0 damage and not a single combat casualty. It was a flawless victory, won by technology, training, and the quiet confidence of one forward-thinking admiral. Yet, this revolutionary achievement was almost buried by history. In the aftermath, some naval leaders, still skeptical of radar, downplayed the role of the new technology, attributing the victory to luck. The official reports were muted. The legend of the ship that couldn't be sunk was quietly sidelined, its lessons on technological supremacy slow to be adopted by the wider fleet. But the truth of that night could not be hidden. The Naval Battle of Guadalcanal was the turning point in the Pacific War, and it was the USS Washington that dealt the decisive blow. It was the moment when the age of the samurai swordsman gave way to the age of the technician. It proved that innovation, when wielded by those with the vision to understand it, is the ultimate weapon. The story of the USS Washington is more than just a battle report. It's a testament to the power of adaptation and the courage to embrace the future, even when the rest of the world is looking backward. It remains the legacy of America's most underrated battleship, a silent guardian that, in one dark night, saved an island and changed the course of the war. Thanks for watching. If you found this piece of forgotten history as fascinating as we do, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories of the ships, battles, and heroes that shaped our world.